So I've never actually done this before, but Dave said it was easy day night. So
it's actually very easy. We use it for years now. Because not only does it does have an easy setup, but then it also records and broadcasts.
Yeah. So I sent you the YouTube link and the Hangouts link. So if people want to join, well, yeah. I don't know how useful it would be to join the Hangouts since we can't, not really interacting with that machine, right? But I guess, yeah, if one of you wants to join the Hangout as well, as long as we don't get into the speaker.
Don't get the email. Might be in the greatest.
Oh, shoot.
Do you have the IRC chat?
No, I don't use OS X, and I don't know. I don't have any chat, or I don't have my normal email, so I can't send it myself.
You have Emacs, and Emacs does everything.
I have Emacs?
Yes. Emacs is pre-installed on Mac. Emacs, and then we go ERC, and there you have IRC Freenode.
What?
No password, and then join Bundy -DNS.
I think so, yeah.
Here we are.
Okay.
And then just copy and paste the link.
Oh. It's wheeled, but it's attached. Never mind. I don't want to start off our effort with a huge 3,000 euro bill for some of your equipment or something.
What was it leave hotel between 7 and 7:15?
Alright, that's short.
Yeah. Bus instead of running there. Just from there to the Hello, welcome. So we are under surveillance.
Okay, cool.
The world is watching. So who is it who wanted to join?
Thomas Markwalder. So he's working on the DNS implementation in Kia. He has some concerns, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, he will.
I wrote it on the IRC, on Twitter, and on mailing lists.
Okay.
Not sure if you can reconfirm with him. Can use any of these.
Hello. You're on TV. The session is being recorded.
Yes. Interesting.
So how would we structure it? Would be we, you, tell anything, something, or should we ask the audience about?
Well, yeah, let's see what. Why don't we? I like the idea of asking the audience,
Before we
see what.
dilute them with our ideas.
Yeah, exactly. See what people are expecting or what their. What's the story? Hello.
Right.
You're on TV and your session is being recorded. So.
Okay. So I'm done. Thank you for your attention.
One of the working group chairs is very upset we have a photographer in this meeting.
It was upset to this.
I agree as well. I think you're right, actually, in that case, is to recuse yourself from the meeting if you're that fine.
Not above that, but someone who's doing the job should be asked.
I agree. What's that? Yeah, well, that's all right. Names are changed to protect the innocent.
I wonder how many will find the way to the room.
Someone.
Hello.
Hello. Come on in. Just so you know, you're on YouTube Live, so
Okay.
everything you say can and will be used against you.
Okay.
Or, someone had asked if they could participate remotely, and so we decided to. This might be a good way. I don't know if the audio is any good, and I don't know how to fix that.
The lamp is huge.
No, Tomek.
It's probably in California being encoded and expect.
Let me see if I can increase the microphone somehow.
I was only talking about the lag.
Input. Oh, it's already at maximum. All right. Well,
Yeah, so it's like 20 seconds. That's huge.
we'll have to. I guess we'll just have to speak up when we're.
The audio is always also delayed by
How long?
20 seconds
20 seconds.
or more.
Well, I guess they have to do some processing to look for keywords and pass that out to the NSA.
You're adjusting the audio in this mode.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's not bad if you consider that they're doing some sort of scary CDN stuff behind the scenes there. So.
It's good for a broadcast.
Yeah. But it means that a bomb would go off and here in the world wouldn't know it for consent.
So with the 3 viewers, okay. This is one. This is probably the second.
Hello. Hello. Well, you look for the competition.
It's a community.
It's a community, that's true. That's true. So, I guess we can give people a couple more minutes to try to find the room. Of course, maybe, because I don't know who you invited. Do you maybe want to go wander and see if people are trying to see someone that you had talked to and thought they might want to come?
I do that in a moment. Like that, we just wait a few more minutes. Chat.
Oh, yeah, you're on YouTube. Okay.
But they can't figure it out. So do we have this? At least one.
At least one.
No, this is one guy from IC, so he's working on DNS module in PCP. He's actually here in Starbucks. He's the most interesting.
Ah, right.
Is he working from here, from Warsaw? No. Or is that?
Thomas Marvel.
Yes. But does he know how to join this thing? Yeah.
Hello. Welcome. Just so you know, we're putting it on YouTube. Someone wanted to watch it remotely, so be polite, friendly.
Oh, we have remote participation. Yeah.
Do we?
But you need to keep smiling.
I can kick under the table. They can't
Yeah,
see
of
that.
course. Do we want to share your slides on the Hangout somehow? I know you don't have a Google account, but
I could do that.
yeah.
Yep.
Are you looking for my badge?
Yes, I was trying to.
I might see.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe you never got the link for the. Let me send a link for the Hangout itself.
Okay, so what's
The
Nothing wrong with it.
one dish to order. Yes.
Or actually, is it a standalone or is it a?
it's not a stuff. It's just a file.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I did is that there's some that's cognate somewhere else.
Okay.
In the same layout that
It doesn't work.
All right. For our millions of viewers, we're just trying to get the slides set up so we can share them.
Send.
Oh, I sent you a link. Oh no, in the. In the IRC, I put a link to the Hangout itself.
Yeah, and I broadcasted it on the users list and also on Twitter.
Freenode?
Yeah. Right.
So apparently, in the old days, we just get a projector with. I remember. You guys might be a bit young. Sure. Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
But that's just mainly because we have very little facilities.
Ah.
I don't have the.
Let me think. I'll send it again.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
So managing that.
Vicky wrote me an email that she plans to join.
Very
She was lying down. She was to the toilet.
She woke up. It's very low. Poland.
We're getting there.
Oh, you know. Yeah, so she realized maybe it's more.
That's the.
It's only for watching.
Might you. Maybe I have to do something magic to get you as a.
The word that we have now, which is almost impossible for anyone to pronounce.
Okay.
It means a lotus.
Okay.
It has a retroflex nasal, which I don't think comes in any other language.
Right? So can you say that again?
Now. That's what I meant. Like that retroflex consonant is, even for Indians, it's by uneducated Indians, we cannot say it.
All right. I tried to googly away by sending you an invitation.
Is the slides are here?
Okay. We're getting there. Sorry.
Will you think about this as a British solution?
Not nothing, Kaji.
I want my tongue sticking to my ice cream.
Goodness sake. Oh, we'll try your Google Plus account. Maybe it's. Sorry. It's one of those notifications.
Oh yeah, these are the ones.
I think it's that one. Oh yeah, we're getting there.
So the camera should be lower.
Right. Sorry, I was just. Okay. You gotta click join.
Yes.
Then it's
All right.
screen share, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Ah.
Oh, okay.
What? All right. That was easy. So, I guess we'll go ahead and start it. Sorry, we're a little bit late. If people can't hear me on the YouTube, then I don't know. that's a pity. I'll try to speak loud. So IC decided to drop by in 10, and they they wanted to not just drop the project on the floor, so they talked to a few of us who had a history of working with the project before. Myself, of course. Also, Karsten's been a strong supporter of the project throughout the years. Joao kind of started the project, and I think Joao or someone said we also invite Jinmei, so we also got him involved. So there were a few of us who had a history with the project. We did some brainstorming to try to think of a new name. Karsten thought, well, we'll just use the name of our mascot, which seems to make sense to me, although apparently we're obviously not branding experts. Everyone thinks it's a horrible name. Sorry, I don't know. I thought it was all right. Yeah, so we did the stuff of moving the code to GitHub. Karsten set up a domain with the website, things like that. We've got the IRC chat and a few mailing lists. So we have all the infrastructure in place. We've been getting bug reports and some patch submissions. So that's kind of where we're at now. So I guess what we want to do tonight is to talk to people and find out what their expectations are, what you guys are looking for. And then Karsten has some slides about what his view on things, what he's planning on doing, where we're going to go with that. And then we can have some discussions after that about how to work together with the next and things like that. Yeah? Cool. Yep. So, I don't know. So, Anand, you're from Ripe NCC, right? Mm-hmm. Are you here semi-officially, like finding out what's going on for your company, or just personal curiosity?
Just here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Anything you're looking for in particular?
Yeah, I mean, Ripe NCC is sponsored part of this project, so, and I was obviously very curious to see how this project will evolve, and I also quite keen on trying out the software when it became available. And during this process, I packaged it, tested it, found that meet our expectations, and of course I was keen on waiting for releases. I'm still very much interested in it. I'm not so much interested in buying and providing authoritative service or DNS service. We already have a nice mix of that. But the interesting part for me is the modular and pluggable nature of Bundy, which makes it more interesting as a sort of provisioning box, because that's where the complexity usually lies in the system. You have so many different sources of input, and you want to fan them out in various ways, and something like this is great, for that kind of system.
Yep.
So that's actually my main interest, and I think I'd still like to see if I can use Bundy or whatever name it evolves into for this kind of purpose.
Okay. I think that's fair. Yeah. We're going to go around the table, sorry.
So, yeah, that's also actually personally most here in the system. Actually, I think using my show here is to see what processes will be done on this music. Very interesting there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know on code, but now it's good. Content here is one model also, which is a approach that I'm familiar with.
Okay. Would you, Arsan, do you want to tell us what you're looking for here?
My own and
You always wanted a small authoritative DNS server. Yeah. And what? Okay. Well, I hope you do your project on GitHub so you can follow that. Of course, you don't have to. Of course, you do whatever you want.
Yes. We have been asked to be a little bit louder for the remote participants. Not sure if that was possible, but.
And yeah, I'm just interested in what you doing. I just want to. Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Yes, Piotr, actually managing quite large infrastructure running Bind. I know continue using Bind for many years, not because Bind was I don't think you're of this personal interest, but that's what it is on extending the project in some new. It's not really much, but I see that the basis. So I was wondering if you like just place for it's just better things to improve the ball.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Myself and Tony, we are IC, and we're working on like Kia, which is a new DCP server from IC, and for a while Kia was initially developed as part of the Bind. It was edited in the Bind program, and when the Bind project was shut down on IC, then IC made a decision to decouple, to get rid of the Bind framework and make it the standalone DHCP server, so we're currently working on that. However, we still use a lot of common libraries. It's still, including libDNS for DNS operations, and we have common code, right? And, I'm not sure what the future will be of our corporation and what will be the focus. However, having a common code, at least we can sort of share, bug reports, bug fixes, and patches, and so on and so forth. Right? So that would be a different thing. We also heard some rumors about the possibility that Bundy would be interested in doing Kia maybe in Bundy. I'm not saying it's decided, but perhaps, right? So our corporation could be. We should probably establish some sort of corporation. I'm not sure what that corporation will be and should be, and that obviously depends on how much time you guys can spend on the project and what will be the general direction of Bundy development. But it's obviously a good place to be here and find out basic things about the plans for the development of Bundy and some initial corporations.
Okay. And I heard from Coons, who was one of the developers on the project today, or yesterday, I don't know, I saw the mail today, that he is going to be able to spend some time on libDNS++. I guess because it's part of something that Kia depends on, so I guess that's the reason. So, which is good news for the project, actually. So. Mm-hmm. And it occurs to me now that you're sending messages into IRC about what we're discussing here?
List.
Okay.
There was a question, what is this about? And
okay, fair enough. Yeah, because we didn't actually agree to take any notes or anything.
oh, sorry.
Well, we don't have to, but we have the video. It's not so easy to Google for what we're saying in the video.
Yeah.
We can turn on speech recognition. Anyway. I think we're going to. So, do you want to say anything to Martian?
Well, let's say that many people did Martin. Nobody who got it alone. So I'm also on my C. And I really did Martin steps.
Okay. Okay. I think we should skip Carson since you have slides.
There's a question, yeah, Joel.
But maybe
There's a
Joel
question
should,
from remote.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm Joel Amos. I work with Dime, but I'm here only on a personal capacity. And my main goal is to see how we can best use some of the ideas that wanted by then.
Yeah.
Invested quite some time into it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them being used somehow.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, here's one question from a remote participant about, and it's already a question about the future. It's if there's any plans to introduce some multi-tenancy support in it.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Does anyone know what multi-tenancy is?
I think multi-user support, maybe, but I asked again.
I do not know.
Yeah, but go along and I asked here.
Yeah, well, anyway, for my own purpose, I would like to see all this work that's been done not go to waste completely. I think we have a lot of freedom actually, since we're no longer a sponsored project, no longer an ISC. The goal does no longer have to be to replace Pine 9, for example. We don't have the same restrictions on licenses. We basically don't have to make anyone happy except ourselves. So like, Fuji Warsaw wants to write his own server using some of the code from this. That's great. That's all we would ever want, right? Whereas in the past, it would be sort of that would actually have been a distraction from the overall goals of the project. But now the overall goals are whatever we want the overall goals to be. So yeah, we can pick libraries that aren't just delicensed if we want to. We can use GPL licensed code or things like that. Now, if the people developing it think that's a bad idea, they would do that, but it was an option, which it wasn't before. So,
Sorry.
No,
it's my fault.
Oh, okay. We're going to slides. Okay. So do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to go through this?
Not sure if we
Yeah.
want to have one.
Okay.
Can show these ones when it's sort of synced. I'll show them from here and then so it's kind of synced. Oh, has this cable thing?
Oh, good lord. It's heavy. It looks like it's light, but it's not. All right. Well, we can put it back up there when we're done looking at slides.
Yeah. Right.
This is a collection of ideas actually that has been discussed in the past. Work on things last week. So
Full screen. Oh, okay.
Some of the names, some of the names my ideas there. You so this is nothing is decided on this. This is just ideas. Feedback will be very, very welcome. Because we have limited resources at the moment, and also, yeah, if you want to help us with this, that's very welcome. So, continue the work that has been unfinished, that is still open in Python, like the DNS response rate limiting, which is kind of a must these days to have in our server, and shared memory of zones, which GMate has made already a large contribution merge request on that. So shared memory for zones is basically that if there are Bundy processes running on multiple CPUs, so in the same zone that the zone is only stored once in memory. I hope that is correct. I'm not a developer.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So at the current state, there are 6 cores. It's only loaded 6 times, and you use 6 times the amount of memory. and later on, with this support in there, it's loaded just once, which is probably of interest for people running large zones.
Yeah. Or running with lots of cores.
Yeah. So next, as Arndt already mentioned, the modularity is one of the great differentiators of the project, and there are ideas to continue with that, even go more modular if possible. There have been requests from also one of the former sponsors that is still one area where the other open source users that are available are not so good at, really allow you to just load the stuff that you really need and not have other functions that you don't need. So really pick your things that you want to have. So load only the needed modules. And some ideas for new modules would be to modularize the protocol that is having a Python wrapper around the lib DNS++. So it could be used by other applications, not only by Bundy as a DNS server, but having it more generalized, like Kia would be able to use it, or even a full Python-written authoritative DNS server, which would probably not something that someone wants to use for a high-speed production environment, but maybe to test new functionalities, maybe to test new protocols.
Well, people have large-scale sort of things written in Perl, right? NetDNS and things like that. So, I mean, I think it's quite reasonable that someone that only gets a few hundred queries a second might want something like this.
Yeah, that was.
If they have special processing.
It's not the 120,000 queries per second set up, but I would say 90% of all DNS server setups would be very happily run on Python.
Yeah.
As well. There's currently no full recursive DNS server in Bundy, so one idea is to complete that work and see, to look around what help we can get from other existing libraries. One part that is of my interest would be having DNSSEC signing and DNSSEC key management in there, either completely as a own written Bundy module, but also possible to have a Bundy module that communicates with open DNSSEC. Makes use of that. Bundy today can load a DNSSEC client to serve that, but it does not sign itself and it does not do key management and signature refreshes. And I think in today's world, that is also a must for an authoritative link, so you have to support DNSSEC else. It's not of much use.
Yeah, so for my own personal use, this is a big thing for me because I use Bind 9 for my authoritative server, and this is the thing that's preventing me from moving to Bundy for that. Is I use the re-signing stuff for Bind 9. Also, yeah, the Open DNSSEC, that's an interesting way that we're different from Bind 10 and Bundy, because ISC could not use Open DNSSEC for market and political reasons, basically, not for any technical limitations or concerns about the technology or the software. But in Bundy, we don't have to care about that. If it works, we can use it and just be happy, right?
And from the architecture of the Bundy, it might even be possible to have the same configuration stored, but then choose different modules that provide the same functionality, like having my DNSSEC signing policy there and have that open DNSSEC. But if then I want to go to some other DNSSEC signing software, maybe the Bundy own or something else, I could just switch by loading a different module, and that will automatically use the signing policy that I have defined over there. So communication between the modules and same would be possible for DHCP, having here as a module, or maybe having a different DHCP server, like there's a Python DHCP6 server that gains momentum and have the ability to switch between them without making changes to the configuration, really. Just an easy way to just test out to different DHCP servers. Also for code diversity, if there's a major bug in one of the modules, one of the smaller modules or project there, be able to switch to some other rate without doing reconfiguration. Data sources, databases, MySQL is the current one. PostgreSQL, I think there's already work being done.
Yeah, Jinmei has some working branches in the Vine 10 code base with this stuff.
So that needs to be reviewed and deleted and merged in.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe there's others. Maybe there's NoSQL stuff that we use. Maybe we can even do some buzzword bingo. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
LDAP. Yeah, we already talked about shared memory with shared or separate memory management daemon. That is one of the ideas Jinmei is working on. Extend the C++ library and the Python member with DNS support and more. A C++ version of the GetDNS API would be of interest. Some hooks in there. That is already in the DHCP here, where users can write their own modules that massage data that just give back. That could be done with DNS as well. So more flexibility there. And experimental stuff that is currently discussed in the idea, because it's modular, it's much easier to bring this stuff into Bundy than like putting that into 9 or any of the other products, because it would maybe risk the stability to have experimental stuff in there. But there's a problem because we can just load that for the people who want to test it out and others leave it out.
So for my clarification, the modular part is implemented in such a way that you would make a new process and process communication. And that would be my guess, maybe it's a stupid guess, but could you explain a little bit what modular means here? How the technical?
Yeah, there's different kinds of modularity that are in Bundy. One is you can create a new module, new type of process, right? And that can provide any functionality. So, for example, DDNS runs a separate process right now. So if you don't need DDNS, you don't run that process. If you do, you run that process, and then that's where you get update to zone data. Another way to extend the server, which is only available now in the DHCP code, is what Carson was talking about, which is a hook, where you actually build a C file, or I guess C++? Or just,
C++. So
yeah.
in essence, you have API exposed. It's C++. So you can build a library or a couple of libraries, and then configure the DHCP server to load them. So in the DHCP processing class, there are different tool points that you can import your own libraries. So and this is bidirectional, so you can either get the data or also influence it. So
Yeah.
So it's totally clear.
And so the work on the DNS side is basically to define where the API, where the callouts occur, and what the data structures look like that happens. Yeah, and then write a few sample code to, first of all, to make sure it works like you want it to from an API as well as just building it point of view, and also so people can tweak it and do weird stuff without having to learn a whole bunch of stuff later.
So one thing that could be implemented as such a module is the DNS tab.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Yeah.
okay, I got a quick clarifying question. In the previous slide, I mentioned MySQL. So is MySQL used in this part of Bundy?
This is to add that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And so right now we have a data store only SQLite or in memory. He's created a MySQL one, and then also Postgres. Yeah. Okay. So.
yeah, we spoke about that clean API. Because it's even more needed now because we have more interfacing points with Kia, for example. So it's less that the software parts can directly call themselves. Maybe more need for a clear API. However, I'm not sure if there is a problem there. We have clear. And integrating another server might be possible, maybe even outside the way of DNS and HTTP, because Bundy has a common framework service that it provides for server modules, so NTP would be possible, some others.
I mean, yeah, and you could even do something really heavyweight like communicating with your registry or registrar, for example. So you could, in principle, have a system, for example, where you ask it to add a zone, and it would actually go buy a zone for you, and then configure it all in one operation. So, yeah.
Yeah. User friendliness is one of my stuff that I would like to work on. The CLI currently is not perfect. Could be getting more out. So the idea there is to use conventional configuration so that every single configuration item needs to be really set by the administrator. So there are central defaults. Also zone content management. Currently it's possible from the CLI to add a zone and delete a zone, but not the records in the zone. So for records in the zone, you have to either go directly to the database, or you load zone files in and out. So you have to fire up your BI, write a zone file, and then load that in every time. And that is something that could be done better. So having some commands to add an A record, to delete an A record, similar to maybe NS update.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do you envision that? Would your idea be something that uses dynamic DNS for this, or would you envision a separate mechanism?
I would make that independent of the mechanism based on the data source, actually.
So here you just want to define an API, a user interface for it.
User interface and what's happening in the background that is
happens.
Open. It can be translated to an dynamic update. It could be translated to an SQL update.
Right.
Store. It could be rewrite its own file, master zone file directly in this.
Well, we have an API that, for example, the DNS code and the zone transfer code uses, which abstracts the data source, right?
Okay.
So we could do something like that.
Yeah.
And I like this idea because you know we provision reverse DNS from the right database into reverse zones, and we're actually looking at rewriting some of this provisioning system, and instead of making it dependent on dynamic DNS or something else, you know, if that's abstracted away, you know, this would make for a good base for a provisioning system as well.
And then server set. Server set means in normal DNS operations you have one master usually and a couple of slaves. And they share some configurations, like if you create a new zone, you usually want to have that on the master and on all your secondaries. So the idea is there a lightweight configuration option that defines the set of servers with a name. And then you can say, I want to create zone X on this set of servers, and you give it a name. And then the system knows, okay, the master should be there, and these three other machines should be the secondaries. And it automatically creates the correct configuration on the master, creates a zone, on the secondaries, creates zone transfer, creates TC keys automatically, make sure that zone transfer works. And all that is done, it requires, we are done, we are ready, and this is the configuration created there. So, and the server set will then be stored also on the servers, so it would be replicated. If one of the servers is completely gone because of a hardware failure, disk crash, no backup, it would be then possible to log into any of the other secondaries, sharing the same configuration, having the same knowledge about what is said, and then promoting one of the machines there to be the master and maybe reconfigures then the other slaves to fulfill the new master. Because that is a common thing with operators, at least in some space, in organizations, companies, universities that I see. Data management tools, talk about that. What's important for me is that the whole automation, I would say, should not hide the complexity. It should not be a black box, not be do this and you never know what's happening with these, but the system should report what it's doing in a way that is transparent to the user, what really happens in these. So, and all the steps is being done automatically, but also being done manually step by step. So the administrator can intervene in every step and make changes to it. I think on the next slide I have some examples. So this is, I'm not sure how many lines you have to configure today to create just one single master zone. It's probably 15 or so.
The first time.
The first time.
Yeah.
The idea here is to make the reminder add zone example.com, and it creates a zone from a template with a store record that works, that has the correct master in the embedded field, that has sensible SOA values in there, creates then the NS record set with the information from the set configuration, and it spits it out. It shows the records in zone file format, and it's done. And you can also have different templates. So you can say from that template, and that template is already pre-populated with, like your MX records, your A records, which is useful if you have a lot of versioning of version zones. And cloning from existing zones is one idea. You point to an existing zone and say, I want to have the same zone content, but just with different names. Maybe a clone of that and I want to change the and things that I've been working on in the last weeks, and it is a little bit painful because you have to use different tools and you have to copy and paste from different places, and it's error prone. You have something like add bracket TLSA for, and then you have a URL of a web page or the name of the mail server, and it automatically fetches the X509 certificate, creates the hash. Gets the correct TLSA record and puts it in the correct zone. And that could use like work from networks like the LDNS Dane that Willem has done, or there's the work from Paul Wouters from Red Hat, who's done the TLSA command, Hashlinger. So make use of existing open source and grab it so that's easy to use.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that, the NSD4S patterns, which is a lot like the templates you're describing. And I'm not sure how applicable it is to take that fire it in here, because it's a different language, first of all. But maybe it can be useful as an input.
Yeah, we will look into it if we see if we maybe can have a use the same or make it compatible. Makes it easier to move from instance to Bundy.
I understand it for that.
And sanity check, like having the Swedish registry and AFNIC, they working on the successor of their zone checking tools, and it would be nice to have an interface directly from the choosing zone checkers, so that you can call them directly from the interface. So you have configure the zone, and so this is just an example of those.
Shouldn't that last one be an error? No, I'm Only legacy IP.
Yeah, and what I'm currently already working on is to create images, pre-installed images of Bundy, because of the dependencies, and not all the dependencies are in all operating systems available, to make it very easy for people who want to test out Bundy. Having a virtual machine image that can be downloaded, can be put into visualization system, and then fire up, and everything is already there. And that would later involve even into production-ready virtual machine images that people can just deploy on the virtual systems that they have. More and more organizations run on virtual machines, so. Yeah, and this is how you can participate. And we all need this.
What's that?
We all need this for there's what's going on. We code reviews, testing, documentation, that was updated, and more.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had staff at ISC working on this stuff, and now we don't. So it's basically, it's all completely best effort right now. And you can see from Carson's presentation, there's a lot of stuff we can do.
But it's not meant that we will do that next week.
Right, right.
So how much time do you think you're gonna altogether spend on the project? I mean, because of your other jobs, right?
Yeah. I mean, I realistically expect, less than 10 hours a week for myself. And it's also going to be bursty, because like this week, I have almost no time at all, right? Next week it's a bit better, but so it's always going to be like that. Carson gives training, so you travel quite a bit.
Yeah.
So nobody's really working full time on that.
Not at the moment.
So that may be a good segue into some of our open questions about how we're going to do stuff. We had a discussion recently about, for example, code reviews, and I don't think we've really resolved that yet. I really like the high quality of the Bind 10 code base that Bundy has now inherited. It'd be good if we could keep that. One of the things that we did to ensure that quality, you guys know, is our review policy and our test policy as well. So all the code has to have unit tests, code coverage, and all the code has to be reviewed by at least 2 people. Those were the rules under Bind 10. Yes. Sorry, I was unclear when I wrote it the first time, and it was unclear when I said it. But of course, in Bundy, as a volunteer open source project, we can insist on the same requirements for quality, but then it's going to really slow things down until people are available to do the review. So, for example, at ISC, we had about half the work done for the shared memory data source that Carsten described. And it seems like Jinmei's been working on this on his spare time, but he's been gone from IC for quite a while, so he has a lot of code. It's several thousand lines of code, and it's not fluffy code, I don't think. So I need to go through it and review it, which is going to take a long time because it's a lot of code. And so, if we relax the restrictions for that kind of stuff, then we could just merge it and hope for the best, right? So, yeah, I don't know.
We have some experience with OpenDNSSEC, which is fairly the same review policy.
And we use a lot of functions you can hook into GitHub, which actually can provide you with the technical stuff to implement that policy. So basically, yeah, you can commit something, you do a pull request, and you have to wait until 1 or 2 people say it. You can hook the Jenkins. Do you use Jenkins?
We don't. At ISC, we had a handcrafted CI system, like Jenkins, but it was When we started the project, our release engineer, Jeremy Reed, looked at a lot of different options, but none of them was really mature and usable at that time. So we did it ourselves. We looks like I think we're going to use some stuff that's available for free to use with GitHub. So.
Yeah, so there are ways to do that, and obviously it will take time before it will go back to the repository because you need to reviewers, but it doesn't mean that you have to that blocks other work if you set it up in a very nice workflow.
Okay.
So yeah.
For me, it's mostly. I think it's going to be mostly about the impatience of the person who did the work to develop the changes, and kind of not wanting to have to wait too long, not indefinitely. We don't want the queue of reviews to keep growing and growing. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's doing that now, but Jinmei's done most of the work. I'm the only one really available to review it right now, and I've been busy. So I don't think that will last forever, but
either you relax the rules or you just have to there. But what's the matter? There's a long list of reviews. It doesn't block the work.
Right. Well, again, it's about the impatience of the people waiting.
Well, but sometimes it's not just impatience. Like there was a discussion about splitting libDNS into a separate sub-project, let's say. So I could have internal discussion if we can. It makes more sense for Kia to maintain our own copy of libDNS or pull the version from Bundy. So in case if there's some security issue, we can't wait. So we would have to fix the problem quickly and go through the review. So,
but in that case, it would be important for IC that happens, right? So, wouldn't there be resources that?
So you could do the change, and Marcin could review it or something like that.
Yes, of course. So.
Yeah. So you're basically saying that everybody can review everybody's code, right?
Well,
or you can limit them to the list of known people that would be allowed to do the review.
Committers.
Yeah. So the way it is today, we've got 3 committers: Karsten, Jinmei, and myself.
And I'm not of no use.
Well,
there.
Depending on the type of changes and things like that. But I have no.
It's okay.
I don't think we need to be. I personally don't think we need to be very careful about who we add as committers to the project. I think we certainly know the people here. If at some point we have 50 people developing the code and some of them are students who none of us have ever met, then maybe. But I will be happy to worry about that when it happens, I guess.
Right. The other question I had is that you mentioned, Shane, that Mukund was interested in kind of, I don't know, developing or maintaining libDNS to some extent.
Yeah. Well, so, apparently, I guess he's talked to Stephen and is allowed to do it. That's it. I didn't have a lot of time to read all my mail carefully, but I did notice that he said that he's gotten permission to do this.
Okay. So it's
I think he got permission to do this on spare time.
That's less good. But still, that's okay, I guess.
But it's going to be. They'll be maintained in a separate repository? Is that correct?
Well,
as a separate project?
I think we pretty much all. I think there's consensus for that idea of pulling libDNS++ out of Bundy and making it a separate project. I think it's a great idea. It would simplify. Like Jinmei has CoreyPerf++ that he's written using libDNS++. And like it has a set of things that it tries to resolve that CoreyPerf has problems with, right? The problem is that in order to get to build today, you have to install all of Bind 10 and then build it. Where really the only thing that it actually uses is libDNS++.
So does that depend on Python, or it's Python free? Because, well, if, for instance, if we were considering using libDNS in Kia, right?
Yeah.
Then Python is kind of not the way to go for us at all. So it's not.
Well,
it's not my decision. It's
at least that would has to be a way to build it without Python.
Yeah. Right now there is no way to build it without Python. But I actually agree it makes sense. Anyone who doesn't want Python, why should you have to? Yeah, because you need to install Python development libraries, and it's extra code compilation, which takes longer.
Right. And to be honest, Kia doesn't use a lot of the libDNS, right? And we just use a certain portion of the functionality. Yeah. And we certainly don't want to include something that we really don't need.
Right. Well, libDNS++ is not that modular. You can't like say, well, I only want these resource records. I only need A records and quad A records and DHCID. It's not that flexible, right?
Well, this is pretty much what we need.
Yeah.
So another thing is that libDNS depends on other libraries.
Does it?
Yes, on util and which is
for the exceptions. Is that?
And the crypto.
Yeah.
So.
What, are you going to write your crypto code yourself?
No, our lib
absolutely
crypto,
not.
which is a wrapper.
We're going the other way. So the lib crypto that we inherited from back then depends on bottom, and there are people who are allergic to bottom.
Ah, okay.
So
yeah, of course. Francis has much
we are
better.
working on an extension, so it can be possible to live against either bottom or OpenSSL. So depending on which one you are able to tolerate.
What kind of security bugs you want?
But that should give us more flexibility.
Yeah, would be good.
Well, I don't have any specific answers to these questions. I really am happy at this point. You're the ones with the problems, and if you're able to come up with a proposal to solve them in a way that can be used in Bundy, I think that's ideal. I think it's even better for you in the end because it is possible that people will be putting things that you do need at some point in the future. I mean, it's, for example, if people start using DNS over TLS, right, then you don't want to have to write that on your own or maintain a separate patch for that. So DNS is always changing in weird and wonderful ways.
Yeah, well, but from the DHCP perspective, there's not that much insight because what's going to change in DNS out there?
Oh, there might be. We have discussed about CGA TSIG, which is a proposal in the ITF, which uses cryptographic generated IPv6 addresses to secure dynamic updates to a DHCP, from a DHCP server to.
Which one group is that?
Then
in all of them.
Right. It's an individual draft. So I'm not saying that that will be. It was just an example of what could be.
Okay.
But yeah, you never know what the future will bring. And there's currently a lot of discussion to fiddle around with the DNS because of the privacy issue, because of the pervasive monitoring.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if any of these discussion that is in the ITF will ever see the light of the day, but it might be. And then it will be a drastic change for DNS.
All right.
See you one later.
Joe's leaving us. He's tired of it.
No, I'm not.
All right. See you later.
I actually also
Yeah.
We should wrap up, I think.
Okay. Well, I guess we don't have any real decisions here. I think the main thing I was hoping to get out of it was just to let people know what we're thinking of, where we're at. I know it's all a bit vague. We don't have a lot of resources and commitments. So I work for Dyn now, and we don't have any resources allocated for working on Bundy at all right now. I'm hoping. I'm on the internet, so I should be careful what I say. No, but I'm hoping that I can convince us to look seriously at Bundy as part of an effort that we're going to be undertaking in the second half of this year to diversify our edge. So we're going to be looking at alternate server implementations. We currently use Bind 9, right? We want to add things to it. We'll probably always continue to use Bind 9, but we want to look at more, and I hope that it fits our needs because. We also, like RIPE NCC, have relatively heavy provisioning needs, and because Bundy can be driven programmatically and can be changed and modularized, I think it fits our needs pretty well. And if that's true, then we may have some resources to spend on development, not for all of the project, but for parts of the project. So that's yeah. Then so I hope that's where it goes. And Yeah, and for me also, again, the goal before was to replace by 9. That's probably not a goal for us anymore. So that gives us a lot of flexibility to do interesting things and get value out of it without having to feel like we're trying to do all this other stuff that we'll never get to do.
So do you guys have any interest in the ACP? I mean, Carson was talking about including the other ACP implementation. Are you interested personally to develop the ACP server? Within Bundy? So.
I don't like the existing ISC DHCP server very much, having worked with it and deployed it and things like that. So I would like personally to be able to change my own DHCP server at home to something to Kia, right? And I would prefer that sit in the same framework as my DNS server. So that's just a personal preference. I'm also, if I need to, I'll just run separate processes, programs to be done with it.
So let me ask the question differently. What do you think? How many hours you will spend on developing Kia in the next 3 months, for example?
0.
0. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you come to us and you say we'll use libdns++, but only if you make these changes, then I'd probably either make them myself or see if I could get Mukund or Jinmei to do them. Right. So I think it's in our interest to have other projects using our software, right?
And when I work on the user interface, I have similar stuff that I shared with ISC, I think in November last year, about this interface. I did it first for DHCP, and then I did the DNS commands. So that is equally true. I would keep that open for doing the user interface as well for Kia. Or for DHCP in general.
Yeah. Okay. Should we wrap up? Anyone other last questions or comments before we turn off the YouTube and then say what we really think? All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.